Thank you, sir. Very pleased to be able to take my last call on this bill, and I'll join with all others in this happy moment, this happy fest, to congratulate Dr. Cam Calder for his fine valedictory speech today, but more so for your outstanding contribution to New Zealand, to the community of Manurewa, and to us as a caucus team. You'll be sadly missed, my friend. And I'm only saying that because if I need a diagnosis or something on the cheap, I'll obviously be coming to see you. So can I just acknowledge? Was he? Well, I'll withdraw that request. Can I just, in all seriousness, can I just acknowledge Dr. Calder for getting a members' bill across the line? So there's very few people, when it all comes down to it, parliamentarians come and go. There are very few who will get the honour of being a minister. And I guess in that position, certainly the legacy that ministers leave is the ability to really be in charge of the legislative agenda, and many laws are made or taken away and so forth, sir. The other vehicle for parliamentarians in the main is the members' bills, sir. And many members' bills are in the ballot. Some have merit, probably many do not. But the fact of the matter is, sir, to get a members' bill drawn from the ballot is pure luck. To actually succeed in getting a members' bill passed into law is actually about skill, determination, and an absolute understanding of what this place is about and what the community needs in terms of legislation, because many members' bills they do face exactly the same scrutiny as any government bill, sir. But so the point I want to make on that is Dr. Calder, with his effort on this laser bill, why it may be something that most people won't stay awake at night wondering about, it is a very important piece of legislation. He should be commended for the fact that he has been a parliamentarian successfully bringing a bill through the passage, members' bill through this House and successfully getting that passed. So just congratulations on that score. The bill, surprisingly enough, we had some quite robust debate and a lot of discussion on a number of facets of the bill, sir, and one of the main ones was whether it should be about high-powered lasers or just handheld lasers. Yeah, so there was a lot of discussion on that and where that should land. And I certainly raised the analogy that when we have the unlawful possession of a knife, for example, so possession of a knife in a public place without a reasonable excuse, it's not determined by the length of the knife. It's simply that it's in the possession of a person without reasonable excuse. And I sort of felt that Dr. Calder's point in terms of the same applying for a laser actually was very valid. But as we progressed and looked in more detail at the implications of all those university professors out there, sir, all those teachers and people that frequent the land of the handheld lasers, it was clearly determined that this being a preventative piece of legislation should fall squarely in the area of high-powered lasers, which would ultimately cause the most damage. And I think if Dr. Calder can just remind me, is it 60 miles that a laser can reach? It's an astonishing distance. So Dr. Calder gracefully accepted the advice of the officials, and I actually think it's landed in a very sensible space, sir, on that. The point is that I think it was last year there were more laser strikes to aircraft. The Aviation Authority, if I'm correct, I'm not exactly sure, the Aviation Authority reported more than ever last year. And this is certainly in excess of 100 strikes a year in recent years, which is phenomenal. Because when you see how these things reflect in a cockpit, it literally blinds the pilots and horrendously dangerous, which is why I think over a number of years now we've actually seen handheld lasers used in warring countries to actually literally bring down aircraft. So we've seen them used against rescue helicopters, a police helicopter. It defies belief why some idiots out there would think that that's a fun or interesting or would even consider doing something as stupid as that. Possibly because they don't know of the impact of them, that they can be so effectual at literally blinding the pilots or bewildering them. But I think actually many have come to that conclusion because there's been a lot of publicity over this for a number of years, sir. So one can only assume that they're actually doing it knowing full well that they could bring about a pretty significant outcome. So we've seen them doing it with vehicles and overpasses and so forth, and Dr Corder pointed out that we've even seen them in the Soccer World Cup, certainly been used in rugby matches and so forth. So there are some serious idiots out there, and this law is about those serious idiots and saying, actually, that's not on, and there will be a consequence to it. Sir, and this bill will make it an offence to be in possession of a high-powered, what's the exact phrase here we're talking about here? High-powered laser pointer without reasonable excuse. And so it should be. So it's a preventative thing rather than it being a punitive move. And that's why the 28-day period, I guess, to get some education out there, get the police in the right space in terms of them using this as a deterrent. And prevention will always be better than cure. And my goodness me, if there'd ever been an aircraft taken down, a commercial aircraft, heaven forbid. So that, in that sense, sir, this bill, in many ways, is about preventing loss of life. While we have trifled and we've had a bit of fun, Dr Corder, I think it's fair to say, but the reason this House is supporting this is because it's just good, practical common sense. Not the New Zealand first variety, of course, sir. That's just a bit of a sort of sloganised populism stuff. This is the real common sense that New Zealanders actually know and understand, not the one that you just paint on a sticker and that means that that's what you must have, sir. But in any event, so it's practical and it's common sense, it's preventative, and I think that in that sense, sir, it certainly has deserved the support of the House, and it has had the support of the House, and I think Dr Corder should be commended for the fact that he's been willing to actually concede some points in this, and ensuring that it was a bill that was fit for purpose right across the House with the officials and so forth. I think the Labor Party certainly raised some concerns about it being it should be a high-powered laser. I think Ian Les Galloway famously said in the House that he actually uses a laser pointer at home to play with his pussy, which I wasn't quite sure where he was going with that one, sir. I mean, I usually use a ball of wool or something like that, but fine, you play with the pussy with the laser pointer. Fair enough. We all have our different ways of entertaining the cat, sir, but... And while we did trifle about that, the reality is, sir, a low-powered, or 1 milliwatt, is it? Under 1 milliwatt. 1 milliwatt. Is, you know, if it's good enough for Ian Les Galloway to play with his pussy, it's probably not likely to cause the sort of damage that a high-powered laser would, sir. And I think that's why we've. I'm fully grown, I think. I was supposed to be a lot taller, of course, but something went wrong along the way. Sir, so can I just join the House in commending Dr Corder for this piece of legislation? It will actually ultimately be something that actually does save lives. And in all seriousness, I think the member should be commended for that. And I wish him very well in his life beyond politics. He'll be remembered well here and be a friend to us all for a long time. Thank you, sir.
Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. It's a pleasure to rise to speak on the Summary Offences Possession of Handheld Lasers Amendment Bill. I think, Mr Speaker, as we enter the final sitting days of this 50th Parliament, it is appropriate and timely to